what is going on in Hamilton. Properties flying out of the shelves. And Abdellah.
Trends across all property types were relatively consistent this month, as sales and new listings reported typical seasonal gain over last month, despite being low last year, below last year's level. So despite what you hear out there, we are still not in a standard spring market. We're well behind on any sort of inventory number. There's a perfect storm here of the amount of confidence across the board in consumers. There are enough buyers getting back out there and shopping for homes, and a lot of people hoarding inventory, right? So you have this, we really don't know how long it's going to last, right? It's kind of like you need to, if you are a seller right now and the move is on your radar, I would 100% be talking to a professional.
And today I have the privilege to host Abdellah from Hamilton. Is crushing there. Before we start talking about Abdellah, just a reminder, been doing some land development and student housing in the Ottawa region, New Brunswick, and some other deals overseas. But it's not about me. Today we're going to learn what is going on in Hamilton. Properties flying out of the shelves. And Abdellah is, crushing it. And this is the greatness when you're working with somebody who understands the market, understands the numbers, and know what he's doing. Abdellah, how's everything going with you?
Mr. Canada, it's about as perfect as of a last name as you can get. So
Yeah, that's why.
Nice to meet you backstage earlier, and nice to further connect here. Always pumped to do these. Yeah, we're gonna be talking the same here. Some talking stats at the beginning. Talking about who's got the advantage out there these days and what we're seeing, boots on the ground. We'll be talking about some investment opportunities as always, and trying to bring as much value to the viewers as possible.
I love this. So while you're getting ready and gonna show us the stats, how is the year going for you so far?
So yeah, so far so good, Sandro. It's been it's the beginning of the year. You still saw some uncertainty in the market, I would say, and but I think our team, our office has done a valiant job at pushing through and keep having the conversations. Right, it's a full contact sport in real estate, as they say. So the spring is here. It's not as, I'd say it's not as plentiful in terms of inventory, but there's still a lot of opportunity out there. We're always going to be talking about how to best operate your investments here, what you can do with them in terms of intensification. We're here on our team in our office. We're not just looking at it as one asset, and it's about how can I further create cash flow and opportunity here. So which Hamilton has definitely allowed more of in the last year or so. So yeah, I'm pumped as always and ready to jump into this.
Okay, let's see the numbers.
Let's do it. Perfect, guys. So I think since our first video ever, can't even remember how long we've been here contributing to this fantastic platform, but always like to talk about the freehold stats here out of the gate. You see some consistency there. January, February, March, saw a little bit of a spike, and then kind of a holdout there, February to March, and kind of stayed. Didn't have the exact same kind of increase that you saw Jan to Feb, but I still think in my opinion, when the April stats come out, you're going to see a number that'll break 8. Just seeing the frequency here and the diligent sales activity in relation to the last few months. So, and you can, if you go back to 2022 there, right, you see a steady increase, more or less, takes a couple months, and then, right, it's the whole rocking effect, right? It's back and forth, and obviously now those last two rate pauses, and we'll see what happens on the next one. But it's slowly but surely, right? It's not everybody's rushing to sell their homes. It's still you got to be patient. And at the end of the day, it's whatever you deem right. I mean, in the investment world, there's always an opportunity. On the end user side, it's a little different, right? I definitely wouldn't just be selling for the sake of selling. There would need to be some solid motivation there. But like always, guys, I'd love to see what your predictions are for the April median price. My prediction is you'll see a decent increase there. But yeah, leave some comments below. I'd love to see what our viewers and kind of other industry professionals have seen out there.
Oh, this is great. So we see the trend going up. Now, we also observed the Bank of Canada not raising the rates twice.
Yes.
Where you see that going, and with that, how the trend for the Hamilton market looks like.
Where do I see it going, Sandro? I mean, I'm the type of realtor that I like to stay in my lane. I mean, I've been buying and selling homes for a better part of a decade, so I've gone through the mortgage process one or two times in my life. Again, I think it's going to be a correlation of pause and then more activity, right? That's what we've seen in terms of a trend in the last few months. It only makes sense to me from a logical standpoint, forgetting all the stats and all the kind of economic outlook, right? It's supply and demand, it's confidence, right? That people are still going to be kind of waiting for more positive news to come out. We'll say, obviously, I don't need to turn into a news station over here, but everybody sees where inflation is headed, and the bond yields are kind of back and forth here, and you're getting some rates in the mid fours, depending on the product out there, right? So you're still, like, to me, when the rates hopefully come down, maybe by the end of the year, from just having different conversations, that's when you really see people start coming back to the table, right? They're just not enough. I think that's that's your biggest kind of holdback is majority of the population with their variables, they'd rather see it come down, have your inverse effect, and then take it to market. So that's my super unofficial prediction.
Okay, and what is next? What is coming next?
Next, we're going to keep talking about some numbers here for the viewers, right? We like to take excerpts from how we look at it on a macro level. Again, these aren't the stats that are really going to make anybody feel one way or another, right? You're still seeing minuses across the board, sales and new listings and inventory count and days on market. That's basically the only one that's gone up in triple figures, essentially, in terms of percentage, right? So again, we're still in that zone of coming out of the highest prices ever to this huge kind of regulatory kind of factor that's come into play. Not to beat a dead horse, was still up huge from pre-pandemic, but to give kind of a little bit of a synopsis, trends across all property types were relatively consistent this month, as sales and new listings reported typical seasonal gain over last month, despite being below last year's level. So despite what you hear out there, we are still not in a standard spring market. We're well behind on any sort of inventory number, right? So there's a perfect storm here of not, the amount of confidence across the board in consumers. There enough buyers rush, getting back out there and shopping for homes, and a lot of people hoarding inventory, right? So you have this, we really don't know how long it's going to last, right? It's kind of like you need to, if you are a seller right now and the move is on your radar, I would 100% be talking to a professional, whether end user or an investment style property, right? We're just, we've talked to a lot of our clients in recent days that, even that are, eager to take it to market, because your guess is good as mine if this is going to like truly last, a few months or so. I mean, I would hope so. There's really no negative factor that's looming aside from obviously another rate hike, which I'm sure we can all get on our hands and knees and pray that doesn't happen. But there's a finite amount of time, and if you're a seller and the move is imminent, I take advantage of it.
Okay, so looking to the trends, would you say that we are heading to a buyer's market or seller's market?
I think it's balanced. I think, there's a lot of different ways to analyze whether you're in a buyer or seller's market. It's going to feel different one way or another. But if I'm going to pick a side, the sellers have the advantage right now, 1,000%. Right. And I'll say that with full confidence, right? It's, you're competing again. You're competing again, right? The proper, and I got to stress, the properly priced homes, you are getting multiple offers, right? I'm not saying everybody's, coming out and getting 20, 30, 40 offers per listing, but your price has never been so important than right now. Because if you miss the target, and what buyers have gone through for however long now with all these interest rate hikes, you're slowly going to miss them scanning your property, and they're going to move on to a seller that's more in tune with today, more or less.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, guys. So, kind of give you a different perspective here. So just to kind of give a quick background on everything, right? Like, we know sales are down huge year over year, right? I think we've had, we show a different variation of this slide, obviously being part of the stats package. Months of supply, even though they're, it's up huge. When at the pre-pandemic or during the height of the pandemic, this is what you were seeing.
Oh, wow.
These are the types of months of supply, meaning your absorption rate, right? And I'm sure I've mentioned this in previous videos. So that's telling you 1.6 months is how long it would take to completely deplete the inventory without a new injection of a surplus, a new injection, right? So of homes. I can definitely, when we were putting the presentation together, go back 3-4 presentations, maybe into the fall of last year, where months of supply were, probably triple that number you're seeing there, 2.5x, right? So to me, when we were putting this together, that's something that definitely stood out to me, for sure. So average days on market, they're up huge, because in the height of the market, these things are flying off the shelf, in 7 days fly. And now it's just because of the holding offer situation, right? So there's a telltale there, but there's still a little bit more of, you need to be boots on the ground here to really identify why these numbers are as is, right? So, they're working in the favor of the seller. They really are, right? If you price it right, you'll have the outcome that you intentionally deserve.
Which can be a good news for some investors that purchase their properties, expecting that the numbers would continue to grow.
For sure. No, it's a good point, Sandro. Yeah. So, I'm glad you brought that up. And just speaking with a couple of our investors this week, and and this is something that we incorporate into our analysis is, right, when I engage with an investor, right, you have these conversations of, your entry point, your reno, the whole BRRRR analysis, right? The one thing you got to keep in mind is trying to do your best to project it, right? Like when these investors that have purchased with us now are seeing the benefit of this uptick, right? Where when I was analyzing it for them out of the gate, numbers were, 5 to 7% lower than what they can genuinely get now with a proper, your standard appraisal approach as well. So yeah, it's a great point. You're right. If anybody's in the middle of a burr right now and getting to the end, and you definitely should have some good news in terms of a higher appraisal number. And then we've started showcasing the rents as well. Obviously, being an investment platform here, right? This is very, very important when analyzing any property, right?
Mm-hmm.
So essentially, your year-over-year change, and you'll see. Pardon me. You'll see a lot of articles out there pulled from rentals.ca, et cetera. Showing you average prices for 1, 2, and 3 beds. So this is exactly what we deal with. 1 bed's around 18, 2 beds around 2,000, especially the brick bungalows that we convert consistently, and your 3-bed main floors for $2,500. So this is I can definitely confirm, with the leases that we do on a day-to-day basis. And again, even on top of the sales that we're thankful to be a part of with investors, we're moving, 100 rentals a year, right? So we've definitely got our, we've got our nose into the rental market. We're keeping track of trends and whatnot. But this is utterly a perfect representation of what we're dealing with on a daily basis. And obviously, this is condition pendant as well.
Prices, everybody's favorite. Where do I stand? So, clear here. Like those numbers look a lot better than they did. Okay, not too far back, right? Obviously, you're gonna keep seeing the red pointing downwards for a while longer, right? Your average price during the height of the market broke 7 figures, right? So kind of just to give you the nuts and bolts of what we're seeing here, but still more robust across the board. And essentially, this is gradually increasing every month. Again, it's the whole thing is about, striking while the iron's hot, right? We've seen in the last 2.5 years, the amount of timing, right? We don't, and we that whole saying about, not trying to time the market, we've had to in the last 2.5 years, right? And unless you were smack dab in the middle of COVID, and we knew that those rates weren't going anywhere for quite a while. In the last, I would say for sure, 12 months, you really had to be conscious of that, right? So knowing these numbers, knowing what these average sale prices look like and the trends the last couple months is more vital than it has been for sure. Yeah, but what is interesting, so you even mentioned that before, is that even though we see the numbers, with the red pointing down, but they are still above the average pre-pandemic.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. If the first, even though this is average versus medium, Sandro, the first slide that we always talk about, if we going back to that when viewers are watching this video, you'll see we're up about 25%.
Okay,
so from the month, exactly. You're still up big, right? It's the mindset, right? It's, of course, if I missed the COVID boat, I probably wouldn't be happy either, right? And it would be tough to get out of that mental space of, I could have made X amount, right? But look, you take advantage of what you have in front of you. If you're on the selling side, definitely more of an advantage now, but that does come with some structured pricing for sure. Perfect. Now we're going to get to some bricks and mortar here, right? So kind of stepping out of the statistical portion of the video, and if anybody's watched our Hamilton stuff here, since we started, you'll know that we always like to bring some opportunities to the forefront for one reason or another. I think, to be able to share this with the viewers and give our take on why these are solid opportunities in the Hamilton market. So these, again, this has been consistent in our presentation. This is down in the Lower West End on Mary Court, right here in the university, more affluent area. These are apartment to condo conversions that are being handled by an agent in our office. You can see there kind of, right, the price points that you're dealing with a 2-bed versus a 1-bed. Again, we're not highlighting these because there's some incredible cash flow opportunity, but there are investors that have these type of appetite, this kind of appetite, and we know that, right? So we kind of like to bring different opportunities for different styles of investors, right? And if you're looking for low maintenance, great area, kind of just your principal pay down approach, with high quality kind of tenant profile, these are definitely the opportunity to keep in mind. So tons of units available. We our agent here, Karine Skiba, she's overseeing it. Happy to connect you guys with her and get anybody access to these units before they're even list ready, right? So we do have access to that inventory. But again, great kind of more passive approach. But I think it's important to kind of highlight every style of investing. So another kind of consistent slide that we use here. I don't think we'll ever take this out of the presentation because it's been an absolute game changer. And I say this every month. If you are in the market and are looking for a conversion, Hamilton has basically taken 80,000 of its low density zone parcels and has allowed you to go up to 4 legal units. Like when I say that R1 and R1A zoning is the absolute holy grail, I don't say it lightly. The first thing we look at when analyzing properties now is this zoning code, because it allows for minimal red tape. You're keeping your carrying costs down. The length of your conversions are much more efficient. You can get to the finish line quicker. Obviously, that all comes with the way we streamline our BRRRR process. But I really can't stress enough the R1 and R1A zoning in Hamilton, whether ADU or 2.5 story into a triplex, whatever the case is. It's been an incredible game changer for our investors, for our construction company, and kind of everything in between. Right.
And how Bill 23 is also affecting either positively or negatively the market there?
I mean, it's majority of it's on the positive side, right, Sandro? There's right, and with our construction team and their daily conversations with the city, and we kind of go out of our way to find out more information, right? Because we've seen these changes and these transitions, and we deal with not just R1, R1A. We've dealt, C and D zoning, E zoning, which allows for high density multi-res, and we're always talking to the plans examiners and the employees in the correct departments to see what Hamilton still has in the works, and definitely something that we can have a private conversation around. Just something that we do differently, just to always be ahead of the game in terms of planning. But it's been all positive thus far in Hamilton, Sandro, for sure.
And this is the beauty of like you and your team working, not just understanding the niche market that you're in, but also the relationships that you build, so you're able to get this information ahead of competition.
Yes. So our construction company and our construction team, they do a wonderful job at again, always being ahead of it. Yeah, and not just thinking about today, but what's to come. How can we create an advantage, not only obviously for ourselves, because we are still active investors and will continue to be as long as we have a pulse here, but to further educate our clients and our future clients on the feasibility, to give them multiple options. And then this is, one of the first garage suites permits that were closed out here in Hamilton. We had the pleasure of completing this for a great client of ours with our construction company. So it's currently listed for 2,200 plus hydro. If viewers out there get a second, I would highly recommend just to see the transformation, and me walking through it as an investor and realtor of almost 10 years. It never gets old. It's legitimately a tiny house. It's really, it's been an eye opener in terms of, how you can vastly change the numbers and the trade-offs on a standard duplex conversion, now taking it to 3 units, especially having, a nice envelope there with that detached garage that you see there. But, even if you've owned a duplex with a detached garage on the land for years and years, I highly recommend get in touch with us. We can, walk you through the process, and you have, depending on your equity position, could very well have, a golden nugget there, right, in terms of intensifying and creating some serious value on your property.
Wow. And this monthly rent is just off the new unit that you created on the same property.
Yeah. So there's an existing duplex there, Sandro, that currently yields 4,300 in gross, plus all utilities split between the upper and lower. That property, it's 20 West 3rd Street in Hamilton. So it was purchased for $710,000. And then our construction company went in there and brought the garage to life. So, we should be getting an application any day now, and then which would bring your monthly gross is about $6,500 a month. 20% down on the 710 pre-refinance. I'm sure everybody can run numbers out there and understand what the cash flow situation is on this thing.
So it's a see an opportunity, because you still have a lot of properties there with enough, the lots, they are big enough to explore opportunities like that.
Yes.
Now, the whole process with the permits and getting from the ground up, how is that process within the city?
So that's a retrofit there, Sandro. So the garage was already existing, which was super attractive. That one in particular, I want to say we were in and out in 10 weeks.
Oh, wow.
Maybe 12. Our construction team would know better. But
and this is all the permits, all the inspections, everything.
Absolutely, yeah. We start working on permits before we even take possession, and we don't do that. We always do it ethically, and we have a way of writing in permit clauses. To us, it's just about not wasting any time, right? I've been writing that permit clause for years. It's sometimes it can make or break, right? Especially if you start the drawings process and you're getting stop signs left, right, and center, right? I mean, it's much easier. So that one is an R1 zoning as well, which we actually had purchased that, and then the zonings came into effect right after we closed.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was a great situation. So, but we were in and out very, very efficiently, and that's consistent with our company. We're just the timing, the communication, obviously having investors working for you. We've definitely stayed within our timeline kind of promises and projections, and we'll continue to do so.
I love it.
Yes, sir. Yeah, so we're couple more investment opportunities and kind of talk about some different approaches. This one we wanted to highlight because just great tenants in place. You're absorbing them. It's make it much easier on financing as well. So this one's listed at $949,900. Some of the best finishes you'll see on a main floor for sure. Highly recommend to, go to realtor.ca or House Sigma and have a look for yourself. So we're yielding, clients are yielding there 2,500 plus hydro up top. It's zoned properly as well for intensification. 2-bed, 1-bath in the basement, really high ceilings, great floor plan. So pretty straightforward in terms of the opportunity, but no expense was spared definitely with this one. And another great live and rent situation as well. Another great live and rent. Perfect. And this one, big project, but we wanted to bring this one to light here for somebody that's wanting to get into a 3-4 unit conversion. 4-car parking here. Projected rents at about $6,700 a month, with keeping hydro off the books as well. Great variety of bed and bath count per unit. So 2-bed in the basement, main floor 1-bed, back up to a 2-bed on the second floor, and then with the loft you see there, we'll have a battery unit, built out as well. So up in an area where it's not nearly saturated, and you're still seeing some better gentrification numbers. So a great project if anybody's got the appetite.
And the projections are beautiful.
Absolutely. This is what I was talking about earlier, Sandro, like the zoning, the feasibility, and the execution. You have never seen this in this city. And this is a prime example of our borderline obsession with this new zoning and how transformative it is with investors, right? And getting, obviously it's capital intensive. The numbers will all shake out properly, but a great way to jump into something that for sure after your refinance will cash flow positively and at a good rate. This one a little bit different. It's got a couple different angles here. So this one's in Burlington. It's a South Aldershot, 2-unit. This is more of a live and rent, I would say. Just more relative to the area, but on an unreal lot, 135 by 118. Definitely some development opportunity here and intensification opportunities. But just something that we wanted to highlight. We like to, if not our own, we like to speak with other industry colleagues and highlight investment opportunities that would work. So anybody that's looking to get into the Burlington market and offset their mortgage, this is a prime time house hack and with some future value add as well. Perfect. I think this is the last slide before we kind of wrap it up, Sandro. So this one's on a more mass scale, 17 doors. We talked about it last month. 14 residential, 3 commercial, great diversity, all in areas that are appreciating rapidly. The mixed use properties are right on the LRT corridor. Macaulay's in the north end. You have your Harborfront development coming to Hamilton, and then McNabb Street North right in the downtown core. Right. So all great opportunities for their separate reasons. Brings in an atrocious amount of yearly gross, $332,000 plus. Great residential units there above the main floor commercial with the King Street properties, possible land assembly kind of approach there as well. So really diverse, lots of value add, lots of rent growth up here. And, but, so for an investor that's kind of looking to make a huge leap here for sure. All right, so we're going to start flipping the script here, guys. I've had the opportunity to connect with a lot of our viewers over the last couple of years, and kind of just staying in the spirit of helping one another. We've always got our own buyers looking at investors that we've that we've been working with for quite some time. We're always looking for anything turnkey or value adds. Intensification, your detached garages. We're hoping to get out and see some inventory and kind of do it that way as well.
This is amazing. So not just that, so you have the whole package. So it's like a boutique solution where the investor come in and you offer the whole solution to the investor.
Ideally, Sandro. Yeah, you see the one-stop shops everywhere. Obviously I'm biased to our team and the way we operate, and I'm confident that we do it differently. I'm confident in that. I'll say that any day of the week. It's the mindset. Even the brokerage that I operate is it's boutique style as well, right? And helping agents achieve their business goals. To me, I think it's the way of the world, right? Like you have your big box stuff, which is fine. But I think in real estate, whether on the retail side or the investment side, it's doing it small but powerful. Like the company that I'm, the brand that I'm with, I think it's the way of the world, right? Yeah. It's giving people more of your time.
Yes.
Giving people more of your intention, right? I mean, I would love to represent every investor going, but at the end of the day, obviously you're going to work with who you want to work with.
Yes.
But I'd rather the leverage piece and be able to give, to give our investors and again our current clients more of our time so they truly understand the ins and outs of the process.
This is amazing. Well, this was such a great opportunity, not just to understand what is happening in terms of trends in the market and where the market is heading, but also to reinforce the importance of work with someone who understands, right? I mean, is the 80-20 rule applies. You see 20% of the professionals getting 80% of the transactions. Exactly. You can't be, the time to be the kind of guy that does everything is gone. Now you got to be specific.
For sure.
And that's a better return to the investors and a better return for the time of everybody involved. So
Absolutely.
This is wonderful.
I couldn't agree more, Sandro. Yeah, and kind of as we wind down here, it's I came from a place of before we had a construction company and this power team that we have now. So we had the slide up there momentarily with Deck Inc. and our 555, our construction company. It was overwhelming, right? As an agent, this is before I had a team and a brokerage, that trying to run around and do this all yourself, like you're doing more disservice than a service, right? And it's got to get out of that state of mind of, I want to be kind of doing it on my own the way I want, right? You have your trusted partners. You can take your business so much further, and about the efficiency too, right? And making sure you're not disappointing investors and turning them away from being able to build a portfolio, right? First impressions last forever. So
absolutely. So Abdellah, my pleasure connected to you today, and definitely going to have the opportunity to connect offline to talk about some opportunities.
Absolutely. You let me know anytime you're in Hamilton, my friend.
Absolutely. Yes, I appreciate your time. Thank you very much for giving us the nuggets of the Hamilton market, and we're looking forward to see you again this coming month.
Thank you, Sandro. Appreciate it.